Hello ladies and gentlemen and movie lovers of all kind, and welcome back to another Top 10 Wednesday, or Top 10's Day if you'd prefer. For today we are going to be doing a Top 10 that has been requested to me by one of my good friends, Trent, and that list is Top 10 Stephen King film adaptations. Just this past weekend, the remake of Pet Sematary was released. Does it make it onto the list? You'll have to keep watching to find out. Let's get right into it. Coming in at number 10 is going to be the original 1976 Carrie. Fun fact, this was actually the first film adaptation of a Stephen King novel. It is about a young girl with telepathic powers that she's not quite sure how to control, and a very overly religious mother who is a tiny bit crazy. But the one thing, no matter what, that everybody remembers from this movie is that one scene with the pig's blood at prom. Iconic. Coming in at number 9 is going to be Misery. Kathy Bates gives an absolutely haunting performance as Annie Wilkes, Paul Sheldon's #1 fan. When she saves Paul Sheldon from a car wreck and begins to mend him back to good health, she starts to read his latest novel, and she soon comes to realize that Sheldon has killed off her favorite character, and yeah, she's not having it. It's an intense one, that's for sure. He's bedridden, Kathy Bates is psycho. What more could you ask for? Coming in at number 8 is going to be The Shining. The Shining was actually critically panned upon release. Nobody really liked it. Nobody really cared about this movie at all. It is now considered one of Kubrick's best works, also a horror masterpiece, and quite possibly Jack Nicholson's best performance as well. Anything from this movie, whether it's the cinematography, Jack Nicholson of course, performance, the score, it's filled to the brim with atmosphere, and it has a very intense final sequence. If you haven't seen The Shining, what are you doing? Coming in at number 7 is going to be Cujo. So hey, my 90s and early 2000s kids, you remember those Beethoven movies about the lovable Saint Bernard? Well, yeah, just imagine that he had rabies and killed a lot of people. That's Cujo. So yeah, if you're one of those kids, then this movie is basically pure nightmare fuel for you. Very intense, very well acted, like I said, super simple premise, but it works marvelously. Coming in at number 6 is going to be The Mist. Now, I know there's a common complaint with this movie, and that is the CGI, especially by today's standards, but that doesn't take away from the huge positives of this movie, and the two biggest positives are the fear of the unknown, and of course, who could forget that shock ending? It's a doozy, and you will be sure to never forget it. Coming in at number 5 is going to be The Green Mile. Michael Clarke Duncan, may he rest in peace, gave a career highlight performance. Definitely the man's best performance before his untimely passing. Tom Hanks is exceptional as always. The movie has its odd moments for sure, and that is especially if you don't know what you're getting into, but once you kind of embrace what it is definitely a journey worth watching, and if you were not in tears by the end of it, do you even have a soul? Coming in at number 4, and I already know I'm going to get flack for this one, and that is Pet Sematary 2019. Yes, not the original. I don't know what to say. The movie's, it's getting a really bad rep. It's like rotten on Rotten Tomatoes right now. It only has like a 50 something from Metacritic. Only has like a 6 or a 5 on IMDb. I honestly don't understand. Once the scary stuff started happening, it just kept going on a great pace throughout the whole movie. It's super intense, it's well acted with great performances, and although it is a bit generic and filled with jump scares, which are typically a pet peeve of mine, I actually found them to be used quite effectively in this movie, and sometimes they can be, like in other movies like The Conjuring or something. Jump scares are used pretty well in that, and I also felt they were used quite well in this. Coming in at number 3 is going to be Stand By Me. I love this movie, okay? I saw it when I was probably way too young to watch it, and I loved it then, and I still love it now. It is about a group of young boys who go in search of a dead body. It is a journey about friendship, about growing up, and my favorite part about this movie is that it is kid actors being real kids, okay? The movie is R-rated. Why? Because these kids swear. Why? Because they look at stuff they shouldn't be looking at, okay? They smoke, they drink. I love it. It is a journey worth taking time and time again. If you have not seen it, check out Stand By Me, please. Coming in at number 2, and the runner-up for this list is going to be It Chapter 1, released in 2017. Okay, first off, the cast is phenomenal. They're all very unique individuals. They have their own personalities, their own backstories, and it makes them different from one another, and it gives you so much more to dive into with these characters. Also, Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise, I'm gonna go ahead and say it right now. This is one of the best casting decisions in recent years. Genuinely creepy, absolutely terrifying, frightening as all hell, whatever you want to use to describe it. Pennywise is Bill Skarsgård is Pennywise. guys. Sorry, Tim Curry. Maybe scary in the 90s, not so much today. The movie is just, it's everything in one. It's terrifying, it's disturbing, it's funny, and it doesn't feel overstuffed. It has such a nice pace to it, such a wonderful flow. Everything is spaced out, dealt with care. I cannot wait for the sequel. Bring me more. And coming in at number 1, and this should be an obvious one to anyone out there who's a fan of film ever, it is going to be The Shawshank Redemption. Yes, the number 1 rated movie on IMDb by user score. It deserves it. I honestly do think that Shawshank is better than The Godfather. You have Tim Robbins, you have Morgan Freeman, and you follow them throughout their lives in prison. You're constantly thinking, does Tim Robbins really deserve to be there? What's the real story? As well as you just get to see these two bond. Everything about this movie is magnificent. One of the best movies ever made. One of the best adaptations of all time from any body of work ever. Number 1, guys, The Shawshank Redemption. So if you like this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know, what are your top 10 Stephen King film adaptations? And as always, thank you so much for watching, and that's a wrap.